Welcome to the Court of Bookish Queens, a podcast where mother, daughter, and intruder dive headfirst into the world of romantasy, sharing our unfiltered thoughts, bold opinions, and theories so wild they might need legal representation.
I'm Juliet. I'm the daughter, romantasy addict, and CEO of Falling for Fictional Men.
Helen, the mother, trained legal counsel, romantasy lover, and fully here for the drama.
I'm Melissa, the intruder, uninvited romantasy novice, but oh, do I have opinions. So, listeners, adjust your crowns and remember, in this court, chaos isn't just welcome, it's the dress code. With that, court is now in session. Hello, and thank you for joining us on today's episode where we will be covering chapters 50 through 64 in House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. Before we dive into the episode, please listen closely to our content warning. While we will be focusing our discussion on chapters 50 to 64, we are going to bring in themes, foreshadowing, and lore from across the series. So, yes, these episodes are spoiler central for the entirety of the Crescent City series. These deep dives, however, do not have spoilers for the rest of Sarah J. Maas's series, except, however, at the end of some episodes, which we'll make sure to give you a big spoiler warning beforehand. So, if you haven't read the entirety of the Maasverse, feel free to leave once we give our spoiler warning, or stick around for Throne of Glass and ACOTAR Collapse. Last thing before we jump into our CC3 episode, if you're loving being part of the courts, if you're enjoying these deep dives we're embarking on together, if you want more content, then please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, listen to us on Spotify, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Or why not all of them? So with that, let's get into it.
Okay, so previously on Hofas. I've always wanted to say that. Previously on. So previously on Hofas, Bryce traps her father in his mansion and reunites with the crew on the depth charger. We met the Ocean Queen and Lydia's sons. Sigrid is awakened by hypaxia, but then is turned into a reaper. And Therion marries Flynn's sister. And so for today, our topics are going to be Bryce and the crew arrive in Avallen and strike up a deal with King Morven. They split up into Team Cave and Team Archives, all looking for information. Lydia and Rune finally have a moment together, and we're going to get into it because I had things to say. And the other topic for today is, there's several jaw-dropping events that happen down in the Cave of Princes, so we're going to get into all of that. If we can start with their arrival in Avallen. Bryce and the crew finally make it to the misty lands of Avallen, where they're hit with King Morven's misogyny. Bryce pushes back and manages to buy them some time to dig into the secrets hidden across the land. With the pressure on, the group splits up. Bryce, Hunt, Therion, Sathia, and Bakshan head into the Cave of Princes while the rest dive into the archives. We can start with what happens in the cave, at least in the beginning, where Bryce and Hunt have a full-blown argument in front of the rest. I was like, whoa, okay, we're doing this.
I would say that I'm not sure if people are uncomfortable with people arguing. I'm perfectly fine when people are kind of going through something and they are having a little argument in public. Wonder if SJM wants to normalize it. I don't know. I have no idea.
Can you remind me what the argument was about again?
Well, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I remember is that they're in the cave and Bryce says something like, oh, we're gonna go do this. And then Hunt's like, if that's what you need, I'll do it. And she's like, no. Damn it. Mom, do you remember?
Yeah, it's something like that. It's kind of like he's half-hearted. He's only going along with all of this because Bryce wants to, and Bryce doesn't like that. She wants Hunt to be fully in it instead of being afraid of losing her.
Hunt is doing it for her, whereas she wants her to do it for the cause. Yeah, I think it's so awkward to argue in front of people. I'm of the opposite camp. I could be totally upset with my husband, but in front of people, forget it. Not happening. But then also the situation they're in, they don't have the chance to be alone. I know what I found interesting was when Bryce was like, that's not enough for me. Because I think anything Bryce does will be enough for Hunt. Like he accepts her completely, but this is the first time Bryce is like, "That's not enough. I don't accept that." So that was interesting. Is it a clue of them not being mates? No, because that was a theory I gave last time, but I think I'm wrong, especially after the other chapters that we read, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah, we definitely will. So we can move on to one of my favorite topics when it comes to CC, Ruhn and Lidia. Let's go. Okay. Alone together, Lydia and Rune finally share several moments that lead to a breakthrough. Lydia opens up about her past, raw and unfiltered, and Rune listens. The slow burn between them ignites in a moment that is both passionate and touching, marking a turning point we have all been waiting for. So let's just dive into it. What do we think about this breakthrough?
About damn time.
Well, I think what kind of brought it on is when they were in the library, just Rune and Lydia, and this other guy comes in and starts telling Lydia how much he appreciated all the things that she did for them. I think that was like a ploy for Rune to kind of understand that she is not the monster that he's thought in his mind. So it's kind of like the point where he starts to accept looking at her as a rebel and, things that she's had to do to maintain that facade.
He just needed time. Exactly. Just a little bit of time.
I just felt like SJM was using this, guy that comes in and thanks Lydia for warning him and his family and, being the good guy. I feel like it was a crutch and it was the only way she could think of having Rune look at her in a different light because it was a crutch. It was a crutch and I was like, whatever. Like, I want them to get together.
I totally agree.
Big
and
shock,
I disagree. I disagree with what you said, Melissa, that it's only a matter of time because it wouldn't have been unless there was a crutch like this. Unless there was somebody who came in.
I mean, I'm not surprised you disagree, but like, of course, like it's a book. You need a catalyst, right? So like something has to happen for this to occur. So it was always going to lead to this. That's why I'm like, it was a matter of time. It happened. We were all expecting it. Here you go. It's laid out for you in a scene because it's a book. Like, why are we complaining?
Honestly, I see what you're saying, but I think where Juliet and I are coming from is that we wish that he could have come upon this on his own rather than having somebody come, blaring out that realization for him.
I just want to make it clear that I think that my mom and I read these books because we put ourselves in the shoes of the FNC. So if Rune is treating me like this, I just feel like I want to reject it. And I'm annoyed that I'm reading this book. It comes from a very like, he's doing this to me kind of place. Okay, so let's go to they're walking down the hallway, going back to their rooms, and he opens his door and he's like, do you want to come? Oh, wait, no. Wait, they had a moment the day before or something where he walked up to her when she was right at her door to go into her room, and he started kissing her neck. That happened first, guys. Okay, anyway, so I just had to mention that happened first. And then after this moment with that guy that came in and was like, thank you, Lydia. They're walking down the hallway. He invites her in and he says, just to chat. And then let's talk about everything that happened in that room. So he invites her in. She finally opens up. We learned that the hammer is not the father.
So, like you said, Juliet, Pollux is not the father. And it was through this weird ritual, which we've seen in other books, mating ritual. So we actually don't know who the father is. She strikes up a deal, the whole ocean queen. It all made sense. It checked out for me. The whole her being kidnapped for 2 years and nobody, that was just, oh yeah, and then she turns back up. That was a bit weak to me, but I liked it. And then I'll say something. This isn't related to what Lydia shares in the room, but I was upset a little bit with Rune because he thought of Flynn and Declan, right? And he kind of just got distracted by Lydia. And I was like, hey, something is happening to Flynn and Deck. The whole time I'm reading, I'm like, where is Flynn? Where is Deck? Something is happening to my boys.
When I first read that they weren't there the first time, I was
Yes.
like, oh, they're just giving them space because they know like something's up. But then the second time I was like, okay, something is up. Something happened to Flynn and Declan.
And even Rune knows it. He's like, I should go check on my friends. But he was thinking with something else and not the brain. You know what I mean? So I was a little bit upset at him. I was like, they risked it all for you, bro.
That was actually the first time I was not upset with him. And I was like, ooh, he's really, he's so into
Me
this.
too. I was like,
he's so into her and he's just so overwhelmed by this that he's forgotten the rest of the world. And I thought that was really cute.
Yeah. No.
I cannot believe how different we are.
Totally agree.
I understand that you two would align, right? You're related, mother, daughter. But to me, that is like so bad. That's so bad.
What I want to talk about is the love scene. I thought it was so cute.
Okay, so what did you love about it, Mom?
Well, I love the end of that particular love scene where they're hot and heavy and all that, but she flinches and he stops. I thought that's the way it should be. He completely stops and just holds her. And I thought that was the most wonderful scene.
And that he recognized that she flinched. Yeah, that was very well written. Like, I like that.
Well, it's not even that to me. It was the moment he notices that very subtle flinch, the first thought in his head goes, I'm going to end Pollux, because he knows immediately where it came from. You know, he's not just like, oh, what happened? Why did she flinch? Like, you know, he's more attuned to.
But can we talk about what happens after, if we're done talking about the scene? They realize that Deck and Flynn have been taken and Rune and Lydia run into the caves. But while they're running, Lydia still feels the need to say, I need you to know something. Everything that was done with Pollux was done by my own volition. She wasn't forced. She might have not liked it. And tell me if you guys understood the same thing, because this is, to me, it was surprising because I didn't take it that way when I was reading the previous chapters. And this was the moment that I was like, oh, wow. So Lydia did everything by her own will with Pollux. Is that right?
Look, I did also understand that, but the way that I interpreted it is that, you know, Lydia has also ended lives and she didn't actually want to. It was a character she had to play. So I take her physical actions with Pollux the same way. She's like, this is a character, I have to do this.
So then why did she say that then? Because she's been very clear at saying, I'm a rebel, you know, this is a mask I have to put on. But she made it clear to tell Rune, hey, me and Pollux, everything was consensual. Why?
Did she actually say consensual?
She didn't say consensual, but she said it was like, what did she say? Should we look it up? Because it was very surprising to me.
Because honestly, I was more focused on the fact that Lydia was saying, hey, look, I want to talk about the flinch.
Everything I did with Pollux, I did willingly, even if I found his brand of entertainment hard to stomach at times. Willingly. I think what she's saying...
That is shocking.
No, I understand it. She did it willingly with a purpose. She says that she didn't always like his brand of entertainment, but she did it willingly. I think it's to show him that she is not a victim. She chose to do this and she took the repercussions. It was a role she was playing and she did it willingly.
Exactly. It was a role she was playing and it's just something that she felt that had to be done.
To me, it was like, that was...
Yeah, but Melissa, don't you remember when she's finally sharing her whole backstory? And Lydia said the only reason that she decided to be with Pollux is because the old Lydia would have done that. So again, it's a character she has to play, old Lydia.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, if she would have said that while she was sharing her backstory, it would have clicked to me. But she says it in such a, like, moment.
But it's because she's talking about the flinch, so she has to bring up Pollux. Like, that's...
No, but I thought that happened when they were running into the caves. Is that not correct, Helen?
Yeah, it's correct. Mom, what did you want to say?
Well, I think what happens is that she says that she feels like she constantly wants to be with Rune, right? And I think what she's trying to do is be super truthful and honest with him. And that Flinch makes her think that he might think she's a victim, right? And she doesn't want to have him understand her in that way. So she says, look, the Flinch was there, but only because of this. You know, I want you to know that I'm okay. And the only reason I flinched is because I don't like that kind of thing that he does. So she wants to be closer to him. She stops him in the middle of everything, remember? And she says, I just want to be with you, or something like that. Remember?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The scene in the bedroom happens, right? She flinches. They go to sleep. It's the next day. They find Flynn and Deck missing. They're running in the case. And this is when she delivers that line. Yeah? Is that the
That's
sequence of events?
correct.
Okay, that's
Yep.
what I find weird. That's all I'm saying. That's what I find weird. I would have thought it would have made sense to me if she said it during the flinch. Afterwards, I don't know, maybe she's an overthinker and she was thinking about the events that happened. That I can buy that, but it was weird.
Well, actually, I think it would have been weird if she said it right then and there. It's too that's not what I would ever do. I would need time to process that my body even did that and then figuring out why it happened and then explaining it. So, what begins as a mission for knowledge turns into complete chaos. Deep in the Cave of Princes, Bryce uncovers black salt, and she and Hunt come face to face with the Princes of Hel when they drink that salt. And the Princes of Hel share a wealth of information. When Hunt and Bryce return to their bodies, they're ambushed by the Valbaran and Avallen Fey Kings, who end up meeting their end. So much to discuss. Maybe we can begin with them being in Hell. And we kind of learned that Hunt is made, capital M made.
Yeah.
What are our thoughts on that whole situation?
Oh my gosh, just everything. I know you called it chaos, but I thought it was perfection how that whole thing went down. Everything from leading them to the tomb, right, which I think is Peleus's tomb, and then her knowing she has to go down, and then even the salt, Bryce knowing she has to drink it. Like, how did she know that? I don't know. Then her being in hell, right, with Hunt, and I love that he went with her. I'm like, oh, that's cute to me. See, that's cute to me, not the infatuation thing.
Because Hunt used his lightning and smacked the cup or whatever it was out of Bryce's mouth, and he was like, "No, you can't do that without me. I'm going with you."
That I love that. And then being in hell, they learn so much. I'm so happy. Finally, we have like a meeting where people are open as to what's happening and they tell them the whole backstory. There's no like, oh, you'll have to figure it out for yourself. It's just like flat out, this is it. Here you go, silver platter, loved. And then we discover Hunt's lineage. So it's not that he's specifically, let's say, a son of Hel in that sense, but he was made to be a son of Hel. And this solidified to me that Hunt was made for Bryce. So I feel like they are mates now. That made me think they are mates.
Well, yeah, they literally have a conversation about it, no? Where Bryce literally asks the Princes of Hel, like, did you guys also make us mates? And then maybe it was Adis who was like, no, that's just like a gift from the gods or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we can go back to when Hunt and Bryce snap back into their bodies and then the two kings are there, the Fey Kings.
Okay, I want to say I have been so wrong in so many things in this book because I was like, oh my gosh, the Autumn King will turn out to be good. He's gone. Morven, he's gone. And I couldn't believe it. They actually did it, you know?
Yeah.
That was crazy. So good, but wasn't expecting it to actually happen.
I didn't think the two Fey Kings would actually meet their end, but I'm very glad it happened. And I love that it was Rune that ended his dad and Bryce that ended King Morven. It was just beautifully done. Also, Bryce melted from the inside out the murder twins, King Morven's sons. That was a lot. I think that was the first time fear was struck into Morven.
I thought they would at least keep one of the kings alive, but no.
Well, she's queen now.
Oh my gosh, and when
She's
Rune
cute.
said like he gave up his title, he said the sword is officially yours, you are the queen. Like what a guy. Oh my god, what a guy. He's just the best. And that's why I love him. I love how much he loves his sister. Like he really, really loves her. And that's so beautiful to me. And did you pick up on this one? She keeps on looking at the eight-pointed star on the ground, or I'm not sure where it was. And she kept saying there was two slits. There was two slits. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are those slits? Like, why are they mentioning these slits? And it was for the swords. So good.
Because,
So
correct me if I'm wrong, when she put the knife and the star sword into the slits of that star, that's what unlocked the last third of Taya's power,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, crazy.
So good. But what do we think she's going to do? Because in Hell, she was presented with two options: bind all of the star and complete it, and you can activate the swords and possibly end everyone and everything, or let Hell enter and we will help you out. So she can do either right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I want Bryce to let them in. Oh, I think she's gonna do both. That's my prediction. I think she's gonna do both.
She is right not to trust the Princes of Hell because you don't want to exchange one evil for another, right? I would pick, I don't want to even pick because Bryce has always had these amazing ideas that came out of nowhere. I want to just trust Bryce.
I would pick the swords because one, I'm not trusting Hell, and two, Thea did it. So why can't I? I have all her power. Okay, listeners, so you tell us, would you use the swords or would you let Hell in? With that, court is now adjourned.